Hey, it's Marat with Garage Gym Revisited, and today we have a review of the Rep Fitness Colorado Bar. Now, this is Rep Fitness's multi-use bar. They've entered the world of CrossFit with their 28.5 millimeter multi-use bar. So this is Colorado bar in line with the Rogue Ohio bar and the Hero bar, and again, Faster bar. Now, there's a lot of companies out now, which is great for us, the consumer, because we have a lot of choices for barbells. Now, this barbell comes with a medium depth volcano knurl with dual knurl marks for powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting, and it has composite bushings. These are meant to be for smooth rotation, durability, and they have noise reduction. With that, the shaft of the barbell is a Cerakote finish with what they call a Duracoat on the sleeves. This is meant to improve the lifespan of the barbell overall. The coating protects from weather and rust and things of that nature. So the coating on the bar is pretty nice. It has a tensile strength of 190 KSI, which is basically in line with the rest of the barbells in this price range. And speaking of, the price for this bar is $299.99. So you're looking at a $300 barbell here. Again, in line with the Rogue Fitness Ohio bar. I've used this bar for about a week and a half doing CrossFit here in my gym at CrossFit New Hope, and I've done a lot of different movements on it. I've done, pulls from the floor, I've done pressing, I've done shoulder to overhead, ground to overhead, cleans, you name it, I've done it, squats, back squats, bench pressing, so I've done pretty much everything you could do with this barbell in a CrossFit setting. So the main use for this barbell is CrossFit or functional fitness, whatever you want to call it, where you're doing, constantly varied movements, something different every day, different weights, light, medium, heavy, so you kind of run through every range of movements and weights with this bar. A couple things I did like about the bar is it feels really nice in your hands. The shaft is 28.5 millimeters in line with the other multi-use bars, but it does feel a little bit thinner, so I don't know if it truly is 28.5, but it does feel a tiny bit thinner. And another thing I really liked is when you drop it, it's not as loud. So that noise reduction there is definitely a bonus. So if you're somebody who works out in your garage, this might be a good option for you because it does keep that noise down when you drop the bar. For light and even medium weight movements, this bar was pretty good. It moved really smoothly. The spin was okay. It's got the composite bushings on it, so it's not a needle bearing bar like an Olympic bar, but it's not meant to be, right? This is not a high-end Eleiko barbell. This is a multi-use CrossFit bar, so the collars are just going to spin okay. I have the bar right here, and I'll show you the spin. It's an okay spin. Again, it's not a high-end Eleiko bar, but it's not supposed to be. It's not meant for that. So, light to medium movements in CrossFit, it's a good bar. You could get away with doing, a lot of workouts with it, even doing something like Grace, Isabel, clean and jerks or snatches at 135 pounds, it's fine. Where I ran into problems with this was at heavier weights, and that because the knurling is very, very passive. They say it's a medium depth volcano knurl, but I find the knurling to be very, very passive. So I have at my gym the Rogue Ohio bar for the members without a Cerakote finish, and that one is a medium knurl, and it's a bit more aggressive than this one. I also have for my personal use a Cerakote Rogue Ohio bar. So the Cerakote coating does dull the knurling a little bit, but I prefer that. I thought I preferred a more passive knurling, but then I got this bar and the knurling was really, really passive, and I don't like it. So if you have a Rogue Ohio bar with the Cerakote finish, just note that the knurling on this bar is a lot more passive. And because of that, I ran into problems. I had a heavy deadlift session, and just warming up, 225 pounds, which is not heavy for me, it was already slipping out of my hands just pulling it from the floor. So that was no good. For the rest of the session, I switched barbells, and I didn't even go heavy with the Colorado bar. I did notice when I was doing heavy cleans with it, I missed some heavy weights that I normally would get, because again, as that bar was coming up off of the ground, it started sliding from my hands. Now, I hook grip everything, so it's a tight, secure grip, and even with that, the bar was slipping out of my hands. So I definitely didn't like that. So for CrossFit CrossFit functionality, it really depends on what kind of athlete you are. If you're a higher level, more advanced athlete, I would not recommend this bar. But if you're somebody who's a beginner, starting out, lighter weights, this could be a good bar because it does feel really nice in your hands and it won't tear your hands up, especially if you don't have those calluses built up. And the noise reduction is a really nice point too. So for CrossFit, I'll give this bar a 3 out of 5. But again, it just really depends who you are and where you are in your CrossFit journey. So secondary uses of the bar, bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, we'll break those down. For bodybuilding, I think this bar will be just fine because you can do your stationary lifts with it. You're not doing anything dynamic like a clean or a snatch or a jerk, right? It's more stationary movements. And that bar is pretty okay for it. Maybe, again, a 3 out of 5. It really depends on what you're doing with it. For back squats, this bar was fine. Front squats, it was fine. Deadlifts, again, heavy deadlifts, I didn't like it for it. But if you're doing things like RDLs or stiff-legged deadlifts where the weight is going to be lower, it might be good for that. This bar was just fine for some bench pressing and overhead pressing. I actually did PR my overhead strict press with this bar, so I can't really say too much bad about it because I did get a PR. But again, if you like a really aggressive knurl in your hands when you grab that bar, you probably won't like this bar. Powerlifting, again, you can bench, you could squat with it. I wouldn't deadlift with it. Now, if you're somebody who competes in powerlifting and you're in a federation where you use a deadlift bar, that's not going to be an issue anyway. Deadlift bar is thinner, it's way more aggressive, so you should probably train on a deadlift bar if you compete with a deadlift bar. So this bar won't be an issue for that. I never got heavy enough on this bar to see where it starts to kind of whip. It's a medium whip bar, so I figure once there's 4 plates on it, it probably would have a little bit of that sway on it, which is the same as the Ohio bar. You know, that's the tensile strength of 190. It'll do that. If you want something more stiff, you would have to go for a specific power bar for that. So again, for powerlifting, probably a 2 out of 5. Olympic weightlifting, I would give this bar a 1 out of 5. If you're strictly Olympic lifting, it's okay for CrossFit, especially if you're not going crazy heavy. But for Olympic weightlifting, you want a bar that spins really well, and this bar just isn't really made for that. So it's not going to perform that well in that aspect. Overall, this bar is okay. It doesn't suck, and it's also not the greatest bar I ever used. You know, depending on the workout, I might use it. If it's light barbell cycling, light deadlifts, things like that, I might opt for this one. Or if there's a workout where I use 2 bars and one of them is supposed to be lighter, I'll probably use this bar and then my other Rogue Ohio bar for the main portion of my workout. So it depends who you are, whether you like it or not. It feels nice. It's packaged really great. I didn't touch on that. The packaging was phenomenal. The barbell was protected very nicely, and in my opinion, I think every bar should be packaged the way this one was. You know, I'll insert some clips of the packaging. It was hard to get out, which is a good thing because the bar was really secured in there. They had these nice end caps to protect the bar. You know, I've had barbells arrive with just a piece of tape over the end of the sleeve, and the bar got knocked around, scratched up before I even got to it. Another thing Rep Fitness did really, really well on this is the details. You see the end caps here, really nice detail with the Colorado Bar logo. You know, they have some other writing on the inside of the collar here. It's really nicely made, and the coating should be durable. There is a full written review on the website with a link in the description. Again, I'm Marat for Garage Gym Revisited. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.